AITA for not telling my new partner about having a vasectomy? I am not the OOP. OOP is you, Terrible Reserve 3754. Originally posted to our AITAH. Trigger warnings. Mentions of possible infidelity and possible paternity deception. Less than. Original post October 6, 2023. Some background. I-36M was married for 8 years, have 1 kid. After they were born I got a vasectomy, which was 4 years ago, because I am not interested in having more children. Ended up get divorced about 2 years ago. Started dating my recent ex, 33F, little less than 9 months ago. When we started dating and the kid conversation came up, I was very clear about not wanting any more children, and that will not change. I didn't bring up my vasectomy at that point, partly because I didn't think it mattered and partly because I didn't think it was their business that early on. Fast forward to this week. She told me she was pregnant. At this point I said the child is unlikely mine and I will not have any involvement in this until a paternity test is done. My reasoning for this is she was supposedly on birth control and I in theory should be sterile, so the odds seem pretty astronomical to me. This obviously turned into a fight. She accused me of being dishonest with her, which I guess a lie of omission isn't being completely honest. AITA for not disclosing my vasectomy earlier? Edit. Thanks for the numerous replies. I haven't had time to read them all, but to address some common comments. I do plan to get retested, but due to them wanting you to abstain for a few days, it will be about mid-next week before I can drop a sample off. That said, I have been tested 3 times since the vasectomy. Initially after the minimum wait time. About a year later when my ex-wife removed her IUD. Finally about 6 months after the divorce, before I started dating. All showed I was still sterile, so not expecting much change there. But who knows? I will update after. Secondly, I was on the fence about the relationship for the last month or so. Even if the child is mine, I don't have much interest in trying to mend the relationship, though I will try to be a good co-parent and obvious apologize for my strong suggestions of cheating. Finally, I do agree that I probably should have said something when we started having sex. She brought up her being on the IUD, so I didn't bring up my vasectomy. I am a bit paranoid, so preferred the dual birth control. Update October 12, 2023. This isn't much of an update, but thought I would provide since many were curious. Had my sperm count tested and it came back at 0, so not much doubt that I am in the clear. I had reached out a couple times since the argument to discuss how she wants to do a paternity test, and got nothing back. I have been blocked on any shared social media and have not talked to her since the argument. At this point I don't see any need to reach out anymore and will wait and see if she tries to take me to court. Marked as concluded, since OOP seems unlikely to have fathered a baby and his ex has gone silent. Reminder: I am not OOP. This is a repost sub. The audacity of the ex to be mad at him lying when she was either impregnated by someone else and try to pass it as his or she's faking a whole-ass pregnancy. God knows why. If the woman really has an IUD and is pregnant, I hope she is being properly checked. As far as I know, it can be very, very dangerous to the baby. Edit. Since this keeps coming up, girlfriend also had an IUD. Finally, I do agree that I probably should have said something when we started having sex. She brought up her being on the IUD, so I didn't bring up my vasectomy. Sure, maybe for full honesty he should have mentioned the vasectomy at some point. But also agree it's not strictly necessary in terms of planning for chicken. ETA children. Since he made it very clear he doesn't want one. Yes. It would also be good to know so you're not absolutely freaking out with pregnancy scares. But to think it's deceitful either means that you thought you could talk him out of it, Or worse, you could trick him into a pregnancy. Off topic. But here's a joke. A man walked into a bar on a Saturday evening, settled down at a table, and brought out a tiny pianist playing a tiny grand piano from his pocket. The bartender, who was witnessing the whole scene curiously, decided to question the man. Bartender. B. Hey, where'd you get the tiny piano man from? Man. M. There's a genie outside granting wishes. I'd suggest you run, as he seems to be in a bit of a hurry. The bartender dashes out, and a few minutes later, the man is startled as a huge group of ducks come running ANF quacking into the bar. The bartender returns a little later, clearly disgruntled. B. Seems like the genie is hard of hearing. This is clearly not $1,000,000. M. Do you really think I asked for a 11-inch pianist? I don't know why no one uses barrier methods of contraception with people they've just met. STDs yo. Hope Oop keeps those test results handy, along with the others, since they prove he cannot be the father. Baby trapping asshole. I hate people like that. She was just mad she got caught. Call me crazy, but I'm in the camp that I don't want kids, is the necessary info, and I am sterile, medically unable to have biokids, is more a logistical issue for future conversations. If you align on the first one, that's really all that should matter. NTA. When I was in my 40s, having a vasectomy was a selling point. Women who actually did not want children, or more children, were thrilled I had a vasectomy. The women I had long relationships with were happy to get off birth control. I always mentioned it early on. We'll wait and see if she tries to take me to court. For what? To embarrass herself? I don't really have a judgment, but thoughts on not bringing up the vasectomy sooner. This is something that should be shared as a relationship gets more serious. I dated someone last year and he told me after a few weeks of talking that he had had a vasectomy. Now I don't plan on doing biological children for a number of reasons, including health-related, but it did set me back learning that if I stayed with him there was no chance. I'm 95% certain about the kid thing, but that niggling 5% is why I haven't taken permanent action. It wasn't a deal breaker for me, and after a few minutes I appreciated knowing there would be no accidents. But I liken it to the How I Met Your Mother episode where Robin discovers she cannot have children and has to deal with that loss, even though she hadn't wanted them. Children is an important consideration when choosing a partner. If I had more than that 5% doubt, I probably would have ended things there. It's an important compatibility consideration. So she knew he didn't want kids and wanted to baby trap him by cheating is my guess. And she's mad at him? She tried, I suppose. Woman facepalming, medium skin tone. Oop is the dishonest one? I'm thinking X was not even pregnant since radio silence. We obviously know nothing about OP's ex, but I'm guessing that the pregnancy was imaginary the whole time. I'm not getting, try to pass off some other guy's kid off as yours, vibes. More, I'm gonna pretend I'm pregnant to get you to propose and then have a conveniently timed miscarriage after we get married. I grew up in South Florida. Loads of women down there do this. Everyone in Florida is insane. Is it possible that vasectomies fail? Yes, obviously. But the odds are so low that after 4 years, especially if he tested a year after, I think a vasectomy has like a 1/2000th chance to fail, and that's after a year. It's much lower after 4 years. It's much more likely she's cheating on him. Like 99% plus chance she's cheating if you do the math. Or that she's lying about being pregnant. IDK, why no one pointed this out on the main post? I don't think Oop is an at all. I had my tubes tied when I had my twins. After my split from their father. I never told anyone I dated. Because we were dating. And I didn't want the whole condom talk repeatedly. So I always said no. I'm not on birth control. Because it was none of their business. Until I wanted to divulge the information. The ex-GF was just looking for the best option to be baby daddy. And thought Oop was going to be her useful idiot. I'd have played the long con. See if she confesses or slips up. Or show your results once the baby's born. Make her feel bad and face her really. He could have avoided this whole situation by disclosing the vasectomy when things got serious. Why would you not share this information with your partner? Especially if they're taking birth control? I don't understand why people hide these kinds of things. NTA. You said you didn't want any more kids. Period. She tried to baby trap you with someone else's kid.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.